The main part of a cordless phone is the base. In Tech with Tyler phone land, there are many different base types. These are all bases. This is a range extender, which just extends the range of a base. This is a charger. It just charges handsets. It does not connect to a phone line. So as you can see, on this charger, it only connects to power. This is very important because when a phone says no link to base, that means you have to make sure the main transmitting base is connected to power. This I call a charger-sized locator base. This base only has a handset locator button on it, and is not just a charger, although it may look like that when a handset is charging. So with the handset just charging, this can look just like a charger. And for additional handsets, I believe the charger is this size. On the bottom, however, there isn't just a power jack, there is a phone jack as well. On this base, the power port looks like a phone jack. I wouldn't be surprised if on the charger they just put a square where the phone jack should be, and I guess change, oh no, they would probably have to change the back shell, or they'd have to just fill in the hole where the handset locator button would be. But either way, the charger probably starts life as this base, and then they just patch up the holes that make a charger a charger. This is a charger-style messaging base. It's not really charger size, but it is charger style, because the handset charges in the center, in the back center, instead of in the front left. Although on a charger, it charges in the front center, typically. On some chargers, however, it will charge off to the side. The Motorola L3 and L4 handsets are a good example of that. The base and chargers for that series. This is a locator base, a normal size locator base. This base, once again, has just a handset locator button on it. Typically, these kinds of phones do not have answering systems, as is the case here, but this one does have an answering system, accessible via the handset or remotely. This is a messaging base. This is, I believe, the most common type of base. This is the base I see the most often. It has an answering system on it.
Hello. This is answering.
And oftentimes, a ringer as well. And of course it has a find button to locate the handsets. And charges a handset. And connects to a phone line, not just power. This I call a dialing base. Just like a messaging base, it has an answering system and a locator button, but it also has a keypad, so you can dial on the base. It also sometimes has a display and menu, as in the case here, so you can change some of your settings from the base. Once again, this is just a charger. So if the base is unplugged, this will stop working. So this is just a charger to this handset, which is connected to this base. So if you can make an intercom to this handset, which is also on this base. So when I press locator, both these handsets will ring. This I call a cradle, because of the no link to base error message on my KXTG2224 handset saying place on cradle, with the handset given to me by my grandparents a couple weeks before, where it says move closer to base. And that premium handset I showed earlier does too. The difference between a messaging base, as I call it, and a cradle, as I call it, is that the handset can charge both ways. Panasonic calls this a reversible handset. In the 900 megahertz era and earlier, this was pretty common on Uniden and some other brands, but since the 2.4 gigahertz era, this has only been a Panasonic thing, as far as I know. And now, no brand makes a phone with that anymore. Panasonic brought them back in 2017 and 18 with this, which I call a dialing cradle, a cradle of a base keypad, so a reversible handset dialing base. But then, at about 2024, they discontinued again, right at the time when I expected another one to show up. Because the 2011 models came 6 years after the 2005-2006 models. Then the 2017-18 models came 6 years after the 2011 models. But then I realized that reversible handset models basically happened every year since at least 2003. 2003 we got some like the 224. 2004 we got models like the 2343 with one handset, 2344 with two handsets. 2005 we got models like the 5432. 2006 we got models like this, the 5632. And then that was it. We wouldn't have any reversible handset models until 2011. Then again until 2017-18. And now we're overdue for another one. I guess that's partly, they just because they've sold these for a bit longer online, but not in stores. This is just a range extender, but there are bases that look like this. Those I call transmit-only bases, because they do not charge handsets like all these other bases can. These only plug into a phone line, so imagine if this was a base, there would be a phone jack here, not just a power jack, and this would be a locator button instead of a program button. So with a range extender, you would place this within the base's range, and then handsets would connect to it or the base depending on what unit has the strongest signal. With these range extenders, only two handsets at a time, or one handset and another range extender, called a daisy chain setup, can connect at a time. A slow green flashing status light is when one unit communicates with it. Fast flashing is when two units are communicating with it. It's weird that it has that limit. And this program button changes the ID of the range extender. That's why it says ID here. But the manual only documents plugging it in while holding it down to deregister it. There's also corded phone. So this is basically a standard corded phone. In this case, it takes backup batteries, so it will not work if the batteries are depleted in the case of this model. But most of them don't take up backup batteries and they work on line power. So this isn't just a corded phone, it also is a base for cordless handsets. So in the case of this phone, it serves this cordless handset here on the Windows desk. So if we do an intercom, the base is this corded phone. And if we spam the locator button, we can make it reboot. And the handset unlinks. Once again, a charger just plugs into power and charges a handset. When the phone or its documentation says to make sure the base is plugged in, to move closer to the base, etc., it's referring to the main transmitting base, which has a phone jack on it, or in the case of a VoIP phone, an Ethernet jack, or it just connects to Wi-Fi. Or a cellular network. Some have SIM card slots, so it connects to a cellular network instead of to a phone line or Ethernet jack or Wi-Fi, as most phones do. Some cordless phones may be part of another device, like a smart home hub, which is a smart home hub first, cordless phone second. So basically, a smart home hub that doubles as a transmit-only base for a cordless handset. An example would be the Panasonic KXHN 600 or 6000, I believe is the model number. And then, some cordless phones may have a printer with fax or copier and fax as its base. So many fax machines will have a phone, usually a corded receiver. But some also or only have a cordless handset as their phone. So it's a fax machine with a cordless phone base embedded into it. And then, more rare, were all-in-one printers with phone. So take this HP printer, for example. This is an all-in-one printer with fax, and you can connect a phone to the 2EXT port on the back. But there are some that have DECT built into them, like the Panasonic KX-MB2600, I think is the model number. So the handset would connect to the printer as its base, and the printer would have, in addition to these kinds of buttons, it would have a locator button and answering system controls. The way this printer works is that when the phone is on, if we go here to do a fax, it cuts the connected phones off. Some modem router combos, like our Xfinity modem router, which unfortunately is the one without backup battery support, can support DECT handsets that support what's called Cat IQ. So these are pretty rare in the US, but handsets like this, I believe, do support it because of this other device option, where when you register a handset to a base, it'll show a base pin option, and then you can enter a pin and register it. So supposedly this could actually register directly to our Xfinity modem. So then we wouldn't need a separate phone, it would just work on that modem. How well it works depends on the handset. But for a regular cordless phone, these are the various base types. Locator base, charger size locator base, messaging base, charger size or charger style messaging base, transmit only base, shown here as by my range extender, cradle, dialing base, dialing cradle, and corded phone. There's also speakerphone base. These kinds of bases are like dialing bases but do not have a keypad. An example of such a model is the Panasonic KXTG6591 series, which has a base speakerphone, base speed dial buttons, but no base keypad. There is also the 6631 series, a speakerphone cradle, so reversible handset speakerphone base. This was also pretty common on Uniden phones in the 900 MHz and 46 to 49 MHz era. The Uniden EXAI 7980 is an example. It has a reversible handset, an answering system, and a base speakerphone.